My name's Thomas Wingate. I come from Surrey, which is the south of London. I grew up in rather a big family with 5 brothers and sisters. I was educated in Surrey as well, in a local school. And then I went to university at the University of Kent, where I met my wife. And that is how I ended up in Mexico. And now I am, for my sins, I am the owner and the head teacher of a new school founded in 2016 in Huixquilucan, Estado de Mexico, Mexico. I have a British passport. Mexican wife. My mother was French, although she was born in England before World War II. It gets complicated. And my father was English and German. And my father was a very phlegmatic gentleman. I mean, in Spanish you say caballero, a real gentleman. And my mother was very Latin and fiery. So I think some of that preparation helped me for this Latin American experience, because when I stood there in Gatwick Airport with my 2 suitcases ready to be exiled to another country, I basically said to myself, hey, think 180 degrees. It's going to be so different. And that simple rule of life has been really good. If I think it's going to happen like this as a British citizen, it won't in Latin America. It'll be something quite different. And the place that was really strange for me was the United States, because we lived, because of Elena's work, in the Trade Commission for Mexico in the 1990s for 4 years. During NAFTA, she was one of the people putting NAFTA together. That was very interesting. And we hit the Olympics in 1996. That was very interesting. But the thing that I found was, I thought that the Americans were kind of like, pretty close cousins. But I found adapting to American culture, North American culture, in the United States, it threw me a loop. My 180-degree rule for Latin America served me much more. I didn't have a kind of a 70, 90, 110-degree rule for the United States. And I found all these different experiences so enriching. I mean, that phrase, it's a cliche, isn't it? Travel broadens the mind, but it really, really does. And so living with my family, the center of my life, living with Elena, with Elenita and Juliet and Tom in different countries, it's been a ball. It's been fantastic. And the first university I went to was the University of Kent in Canterbury, which is southeast of London. And there I met a wonderful young lady, a Mexican, and I didn't stand a chance. I fell in love. We got married very soon, and we started our family in the UK, but we thought it would be better to raise our family in Mexico. And so that's what has happened. The strange thing is, though, that my wife, Elena, has been for many years in her life part of the Mexican diplomatic service. That means that she has to move. So this guy has had to move following her career. The good news is that in education, somebody somewhere will want a teacher of English. That's what I went into education for originally, as a teacher of English. And then things happen. You climb the greasy pole, you get quote unquote better jobs, more responsible jobs. And so I got work in administration and around the world, principally the UK, the United States, and here in Mexico. And it's all come to a head where I came to a point in my life and I said, this might sound arrogant, but I said to myself, I think I can do a little bit better from where I was. And so we got together some family, some British friends, and we decided to found a school, and that's what we've done. It's been very hard work. It's extremely exciting, because what we're doing is we're touching lives. We're saying, I'm not making shoes, that's great career, but we're going to launch children into the world and for them to make a real go of it. Wherever they go, whatever they do, they do it to the best of their ability in a happy and an ethical way. A truly memorable story I have from my educational past is this. I was lucky enough to be hired by the Corporation of London, and they have two fantastic schools. They've actually got more, but I was in City of London Boys. It's right in the shadow of St. Paul's, so you can find it easily if you Google it. And I got very involved in public speaking and debating. I think it's very important for people in all walks of life to be able to present their ideas in a lucid form and to think things through, to really think things through, to weigh up what is being said to them and to look at the truth of things. And that's what debating in particular does. So I met some remarkable students. I'm thinking of Timosha, I'm thinking of Andrew, I'm thinking of a boy called David. And Andrew and Timosha ended up being on the City of London team, which was going after a world-class debate trophy. And so there we are in the House of Commons in one of the meeting rooms there. And this is for a remarkable trophy that is desired by students throughout the land and abroad. It's the English Speaking Union Trophy. I'm talking about 2006. And our students absolutely, you know, when you see a debate and you see when it really clicks, they murdered the motion. They did so well. So there we are in this room. And not only that, they award Timosha the best speaker of the competition as well. And I remember afterwards making a bit of a fool of myself because we went to a kind of a bar area. The headmaster knew about this. This is all right. A wonderful man, David Levin. And they put some champagne in the trophy, but the trouble is the trophy had a little hole drilled at the bottom of it. So some of the champagne managed to get down my throat, but some was dribbling all over my fingers. But that was such a thrill to see how those students took the ball and ran with it. That was absolutely magnificent. Now there's a caveat to this. The man in charge of the English-speaking union is Lord Hunt of the Wirral. Now, the Queen gives her name. She's patron of goodness knows how many societies, but the person who really does the work is this gentleman. And after we had won the trophy, that was the 49th occasion this had happened, he went to the House of Lords and he said, "Gentlemen, ladies, I would like the next debate, the 50th debate of the English-speaking union, to be here in the chamber of the House of Lords. The first time commoners and lords have been seated in an official function in the House of Lords, so the first time in 800 years. And as you say in Spanish, dicho y hecho, it happened. So I had to bring back this massive silver mace that they had given us for the 49th win. Elena, my wife, was with me. So we're seated on these lovely plush green leather chairs there. In the debate, Scotland won, and I thought England might have got it, but anyway, the debate happened, and then the speaker, a lady on the woolsack, as a medieval historical association, she said she'd take questions from the floor. So my wife, of course, did the wrong thing. She pulled my jacket, which is like a red flag to a bull. I had my order paper. I stood up, I waved it, and I caught the eye of the lady speaker. And so I am the first person in the history of the House of Lords to address the Lords with Lords and Commoners present. I mean, bar the debate that had happened, which was a competition. So I have a photograph of that, and I'm really thrilled about that. And so that's one of the many great things London gave to me, and particularly City of London School. So that is a great memory I have. As an educator, I believe you should be an optimist. There are many things in this crazy world of ours that can get us down, but we are there to raise up, to energize, to prepare students for, yes, a very complicated and, in terms of technology, a very fast-paced world. I believe that there's nothing like a school that has a great vision and mission. It knows where it's going, and it is helped by technology, sure. I mean, in this pandemic that we've just gone through, it's been wonderful to have things like Zoom as an adjunct. But we're back now live, and the research still says that it's that fantastic relationship between a live teacher who's really committed to the people in front of him or her. That is where the rubber hits the road. That's really where education happens. You've got to make education apt. Children have got to know that what they're studying really does matter, not just for the now, but for their future. So we don't know the names, perhaps in 20 years, of some of the things that our children will do as jobs. And I'm not just preparing people for jobs. As I said earlier on, David could be a stay-at-home dad, but that's not a formal in the workplace job. It's a wonderful thing, but it's not in the marketplace. So we have to teach transferable skills. Whatever they do today, they can then apply those skills to other things and contribute in a very positive way in their societies. So education is about making the children great historians or mathematicians or students of literature. Great, fantastic, linguists, fantastic. But more than that, we're trying to form the whole person. I'm not a religious school, I'm a lay school, but I believe in the formation of the whole person. That's absolutely critical. You know that you've been part of their life story, and you'd like to think that they will never forget the experiences they had with you, with your school, with your teachers. So it's about always being full of energy, full of enthusiasm, showing children that education matters. Hard work is confluent with a fun experience. We don't live in a prison camp. This is a school. This is where children should really have this. They have one chance at this thing called youth. Make it a good one. The trick with a school is, in every which way you can, to inspire children, to make them want to bounce out of bed in the morning and say, I really want to be there. And so that's what we try and do. Do we achieve it every day? For sure not. But you have to have that goal. You have to aim high. If I could meet the younger Tom and give him some advice, it would be to read a lot more, younger. I was a good reader, I was. But life is short and there's so much good stuff out there. So I think that's a critical thing. And I try and say that to my current students, because you really don't have to allow them to put their fingers in the fire to burn. You did it, they don't have to do it. Always pay great attention to your family, particularly the extended family that you don't see so much, because one day you don't see them again, they're gone. And I think that as a child, you think that you're immortal and everybody's immortal and things will just go on the same old way, and it's not true. I was very lucky to have had some great aunts and great uncles who lived for most of the 20th century. One of my great uncles, whom I knew very well, Herman, was a soldier in World War I. And so you can imagine getting first-hand stories from him, the ones he could tell, because he would actually cry. And then I realized I'd said something wrong. You haven't asked me anything that has made me cry, by the way, so that's good. But Herman was a remarkable man, and probably the bravest man I ever met. He was wounded severely twice. And after recuperating twice in field hospitals, volunteered to go back to the front. He was in the Western Front against the Germans. Although, get this, his father was German. He was in the British Army. And that must have been an incredible emotional turmoil in his mind. So I never knew any of my grandparents, not one of them. They'd all died before I was born. But these people, Herman, his wife Alice, Herman's sister Agnes, they became my surrogate grandparents, and I'm so happy that they were part of my life story, that they were that older generation. And I would have said also, perhaps I can close with this, that look out, pay great attention for when the time comes for Miss Right. I often think how it is that I met Elena, who's the center of my existence, because she was about to go to another university and something happened with the paperwork, and so she ended up in Canterbury. And so, there's somebody up there who's saying, it's the Romeo and Juliet thing, star-crossed lovers, it was meant to be. There were so many things that could have prevented Elena and Tom meeting, but it worked out as it worked out, and I'm very pleased that it did.